6 weeks, we'll have a full enterprise layer product. 10 weeks, we can start generating $1. So what I'm doing is I'm taking multiple different types of technologies and I'm allowing it to be blended into a system that allows you to take an interior designer and actually put it in your pocket. It's taking decision logic that's embedded to think like an architect and a designer. Jeff, you may not know, do you do a lot of interior design in your house? That's your wife's job.
I know to help a little.
How can we marinate two industries that work together, but not the biggest fans of one another? Got developers, interior designers. Some of my greatest friends in the world are both of those different positions. But the problem is they have two different agendas. ImaageQ's goal is to help solve that problem by getting the right people in the right homes within the right amount of time to increase the revenue of brands. What motivates me more than building a very abundant software company that I believe that we can get into, unicorn margins. But let me show you first. So if we know what we are and have a high level emotional intelligence to understand the good, the bad, the ugly, how we communicate, how we get upset, how we win, we're at the next level. So I think the next piece of tidbit at this is how do we really lean into becoming emotionally intelligent people? Well, the first step is
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jeff Newman, and today we have the pleasure of having an amazing guest, Jessica Mahoney. Is that Irish?
That is Irish.
Awesome. And Jessica, you are with ImaageQ. Can you tell us what's happening at ImaageQ and what excites you?
Well, first off, Jeff, thank you for having me today. You have a very thriving podcast, and it's an honor to be a part of, this growing ecosystem. So CEO and co-founder of ImaageQ. Q is a spatial intelligence layer to power real estate. Now, what does that mean? Well, in a $230 trillion market, real estate and interior design are two different worlds, but maybe, just maybe, we can make them into one and use spatial intelligence to actually leverage the ability to have a turnkey solution so that when somebody's looking to move into a new property, they're not just being sold the dream by the broker. They can actually visualize what it's like to move in. The home is not a home until it's designed. So that's just a little taste of what we've done, and we've built some incredible technology around that. And love to jump in as we go through the podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah. Today's a podcast. In the future, we could do like a webinar, share screen, and but today we're doing, warm introduction with our webcams. But also, I'm going to put in the show notes for anyone following along, listening at home, clicking. We're going to have where to find people. I noticed you have a new website, www.imaageq.com. Again, we'll put links directly into it. But tell us about your new website, because I think this is brand new as of a few weeks ago. So what's new here?
So very exciting and humbling moment in my career. 2 weeks ago, my business partner, Geraldine Weiner, and I were awarded a patent for our technology. So we are a very small population of women in the United States that have been asked to be able to use our technology for the future of the United States and the global humanity when it comes to innovation. So we just recently published our website now that we have protection, and our website's talking about what spatial intelligence is for the new built world, how it impacts developers, how it impacts the brands, and how we can leverage this type of technology, which it is the first to the market, to be able to interact with people like we've never done before. Right now, real estate has been similar to healthcare, the last to really go through digital disruption. Transformation, yes, there's some great tools out there that help, property managers and developers. One of them that I actually helped build and grow, RedIQ. RedIQ is a multifamily real estate software tool that used to be utilized to understand rentals and historicals using AI. This was about 8 years ago. So spoiler alert, AI has been around since 1970s. I was not the first one to join, but back in the day, we didn't even call it AI. It was just a optimization of a workflow. So the technology very simply allowed you to upload this information and get quick valuations for properties based on, the influx of people moving in, how does that impact the balance sheet, the rolling 12, how many days is it vacant, and building these packages. We manage 30% of the United States' multifamily market, but there was a problem. 10% of the properties in this country were vacant for more than 90 days. And thinking like Bill Nye the Science Guy, I said, well, maybe, just maybe, there's a problem we can solve here. My hypothesis at the time, 5 years ago, was that there's a lack of turnkey solution and design services at the inflection point of buying property. So that's how ImaageQ came alive. How can we create a turnkey sales enablement tool that allows brands that are furniture brands like Fendi Casa. We worked with them as a pilot beta program. So this time last year, we were invited to Milan to present this technology in a way where we're demonstrating that luxury is quiet when it comes to technology, but soft luxury allows us to, they don't have to be the last ones. There's a new era in luxury, right? Luxury is actually, there's some pain points around leveraging technology to get the same type of results and engagement as do bigger brands that have bigger tech spends, right? So we're at a huge inflection point in real estate right now. We have no problem with demand, no problem with supply. There's a problem with allocation. ImaageQ's goal is to help solve that problem by getting the right people in the right homes within the right amount of time to increase the revenue of brands, increase their average order values, because we built a platform doing the same thing for developers. How can we marinate two industries that work together, but not the biggest fans of one another? Got developers, interior designers. Some of my greatest friends in the world are both of those different positions. But the problem is they have two different agendas. Designers want it to be, timely with the level of intricacy and artisan and craftsmanship. Developers want to get the unit sold and they want to get it as quick as possible so they can get their, a compensation for all the incredible work they've done. Skyscrapers are built from developers. How do we marinate them? That's what ImaageQ does. And our website's reflecting that.
It's awesome. Yeah, you have this macro trend, digital transformation. And what I love is that you have digital solutions, but you're helping the real world. I mean, there's nothing more physical than real estate, right? Or luxury Italian furniture brands. Like these are physical spaces. And so your applications, it's again, so this macro, digital transformation, AI. It's like, no, like what you've created. And if you're allowed to share anything about your patent, without spilling too much, but hint at like what makes it unique or like what's your moat or what sets you apart or just, or even just, your thoughts on it. But again, without sharing too much, love to hear about that. And again, how you're helping digital help the real world and your partners, customers.
Definitely. So in the age of software, been recommended by several lawyers not to patent. Well, my lawyer, Ed Pennington, can be watching this. I'll let him know to watch this. He's one of the greatest lawyers of all time. This is credited and this is somewhere documented. He's never lost a case. Now, the most important thing to know about legal is that if you are first to the market, it's very important that you protect what you do, specifically in each region that the software will be deployed in, because license is transferable and transferable license create compounding worth that affects the valuation. And currently right now we have can't say this publicly. It's, double digits in the millions of how much this is worth. And that's just at a pre-seed C+ round. We're in the C+ round. So ImaageQ's patent is very simple. Think of big companies. First principles is the best way to describe anything these days. Big tech companies, large language models, some of the most disruptive technologies that we've seen in modern day are thinking in systems. They're building the building blocks for the future of humanity, work, and healthcare. Think ImaageQ is in processes, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking multiple different types of technologies and I'm allowing it to be blended into a system that allows you to take an interior designer and actually put it in your pocket. Now, for everybody watching, you might say, well, I've seen Gemini allow you to drop an image into an environment on the Super Bowl, and now I got a brand new house. Great. Love free marketing. But that is just taking an image and dropping it into an environment and showing me where I can, where a staircase would be. I'm putting a fireplace. Well, that's just a visualization hook. That's a system building out a generation. We're creating real world examples, right? So in simplicity, ImaageQ is taking any space that allows you to scan it, a specific type of software that generates a floor plan, right? We're just augmenting the experience of a real life person. That's all we're doing. Then once it understands the space, it gives you a floor plan. So it's an instant AutoCAD. It would take a month, can be done in a minute. Once it does that, it understands who you are, how many children you have, what are your favorite colors, what makes you feel at home, emotional complexity. Then from there, it gives you something that my business partner, Geri Weiner, would have to go back to her station, work with an AutoCAD designer, and to give 3 different furniture layout options. You might be saying, well, AI can do that, right? Problem is, it can't today because it's not looking at the same processes. Before I give anything more away, the patent will be on the registry. We got the notice of allowance a few days ago. So stay tuned, guys. In a couple of weeks, you can read about the whole patent on the registry. Because it's taking that ingestion, it's understanding the space and the preferences. It's taking decision logic that's embedded to think like an architect and designer. Jeff, you may not know. Do you do a lot of interior design in your house? That's your wife's job.
I know to help a little.
Okay. Well, the thing about interior design is because I like it doesn't mean it's been recommended to me, right? So we're we're not just thinking about our own individual large language models of what we want, but what is the decision logic of an expert that understands your space to the centimeter level of precision, who you are as an individual. And that's that layer of spatial intelligence that embeds into a commerce layer. So once you know all that, it gives you 3 different options, and you can drop the whole room into your real world environment without the glasses, no VR glasses. Now, my CTO, Tim McCullum, actually built the first VR glasses for HoloLens. Now, I built this with, smaller teams. About a month and a half ago, I said, listen, I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse. Built this. Now it's time to build the enterprise layer. And the fact that I built this without him is a testament to just taking a real world example and just digitizing it. So what you can do, Jeff, if you are a new homeowner walking in with a broker, you can understand your space in seconds and decide if that's a place you want to live, the place you want to grow your family, and that's a place that you want to call home, because you can visualize the whole experience and then make that purchase. And ideally, sign the lease or the home. We just want to create seamless interactions, right? How can I create something that's just seamless interaction from my phone? Something that's silent, something that is not, it has to pass the grandma test. Right? Simple. Because I believe in the age of AI, we have to focus on the human aspect first.
That's great. What is ready today? And by the way, we're in mid-April 2026. What's your, 6-month forecast? Like, what does the rest of the year look like for you in terms of like goals and milestones? But also from the listener perspective, let's say I'm a partner, customer. It seems like it's B2B. I'm hearing B2C too, but this could I know there's like enterprise applications, but I'm also hearing, wouldn't this be cool for like a B2C, like a consumer app, like a iPhone app, at a different level. Yeah. But the question I guess is, let's maybe just focus on the year 2026. What are you looking forward to this year, in kind of a 6-month-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great question. So in 6 weeks, we'll have a full enterprise layer product. 10 weeks, we can start generating $1. Business plan, semantics, a hybrid model, commission for the products, SaaS licensing fee. The next 6 months, so 6 months in, we're giving our beta customers, we're only working with 3 brands and 2 developers. Why? Because in this cohort, we're focusing on first principles with these clients and ensuring that our product is so superior that their workflow is going to rely on determining what can be done with the software, but really, how can we knock the tails off this thing, right? Their sales are taking a year to compound. These developers are having months with carrying costs, $50,000 actually, a month, to demonstrate, then to create those white papers, right? Hey, ImaageQ did X by this date, by this time. Right? And the goal really is very simple. How can we turnkey apartments? Turnkey is a very interesting phrase and it's used a lot, but there really is no such thing today as turnkey. But ImaageQ believes that we can actually make that word a reality for our business, because the days of people sleeping on mattresses, it's just getting old.
Absolutely. Okay. I want to change the subject a little bit because this is a big deal and I don't want to just saying it, sweeping under the rug, moving on as if it's common or normal. I think this is profound, which is you're a female founder, and ImaageQ also has Geri, Geri Weiner, who I've met and is awesome. And the two of you are brilliant, and it's your company. This is a very rare situation where you have patent, technology, female founders, and I would just love to hear how you see this, your story. And again, yeah. This is a differentiator. You are set apart by definition. This is rare. Yeah, but we just can't sweep this under the rug. That this is so unique that please just how do you see this? How do you see yourself?
I think the best place is to start when I was young. Little Jessie self. My grandparents would call me Jessie. I've been so curious since I was a little girl. Everything had to get questions. We would get lost moving from Queens to Long Island because they didn't have the GPS Garmin's back in the day. My mother was using a map and I was asking so many questions until Google came out and actually there was some peace in the family. Okay. And this curiosity, my mother, I believe the most important thing in your life is to have one person to believe in you. I was grateful to have many people that believed in me. And I'm here today because of their mentorship, their love, and their ability to see something in me when I didn't see it in myself. So that person was my grandfather, Vincenzo Baroni. So our last name like a Mahoney. I'm 75% Irish, but my father's father was a little Irish, but I'm 75%, Sicilian. So comes off, big war and he moved to America and What's interesting is that you don't have to speak the same language to communicate, right? And he's the first person I remember. I was 10 years old. And as a woman, he said, I'd never seen anything like this in my life. But you're going to be somebody. Now, I didn't understand what that meant. So in the quest to distinguish myself, I recognized that the most valuable thing I can do is continue to lean in as a woman. Because what was curious to me was not what everybody else was doing. So when I was 25, I was given the honor to attend Columbia University's technology management program. It was the first cohort. It was in between the business school and the technology management school. At the time, I wanted to get a job at Google. Honestly, I had no idea I was capable of doing any of this. Help build a company within Berkshire Hathaway to grow it. But it's very different when you are sitting on the chopping block as a CEO. That school, Columbia University, has changed the trajectory of my life. I sat down with students and we all talked about how we can solve world problems with technology. And it was in those rooms that one of my classmates came to me and said, thank you for asking those questions. You're getting the rest of the class to think different. That was really a game changer for me. And then when I was about to present my thesis, my professors pulled me in. I don't know what I did wrong, but I wasn't expecting to get pulled into another office. And they said, you know what? We believe in you to go off on your own. Now, I wasn't expecting that. Quite frankly, it was a little off color for an Ivy League school to say, go off and. They said, you're going to fall, but you have the highest level of ambiguity of test scores they've ever seen, off the charts. And they said, you're going to fall, you're going to screw up on your leg, but you're born to be different and to build things that other people couldn't do. Those were the foundational marks for me to believe that I can. Now, entrepreneurship is a game of understanding something very simple. Is what you have valuable enough for someone to see it, to buy it, and to compound it? So as a woman, I never was treated any different than anybody else because I just used my brain to create my life, right? So I see myself as, yeah, it's an opportunity, but at the same time, I'm just a person with so much curiosity and the determination to make things better. I said, Jeff, my favorite word in the whole world is progress. And it starts with these conversations. It starts with, where did you come from? Where are you going? But never lose sight of where, you started from, right? So Geri and I really believe it's such a privilege to be able to do what we're doing now because I know there's so many women out there that just want to get a chance. And I believe through my story, a lot of people are going to know that they can. It's not easy. It is so challenging to start a company because you don't know sometimes if you're doing is right. But your North Star is, do you have early customer conversations? Is there a product market fit? Does somebody want to pay for what you've done? How big is the market to actually capture any share? And Geri and I have done that. Her being an industry expert, family comes off related. She is a tycoon for designers. And funny story, if I may, Jeff, how we got connected. And I want to be very coy about this. When we got connected, she heard that I was building a real estate design application. She met me very candidly. She said, it's never going to work. That was the best feedback I ever got. It wasn't going to work because what existed didn't work because they were using photo generated data and playing on your phone to populate rooms. I said, Geri, we're not doing this. What we're doing is what the patent is. What we're doing is we're changing how we interact with space so that all we're doing is replicating you, but you can compound yourself indefinitely versus having to hire more people for your firm. Well, she said, if you can do that and solve design incoherence, I'll walk away from my company. I'll build this with you thing full time until we take this thing to the next level. It's been 2 years and it's been such a privilege and a pleasure to work with somebody who doesn't know how to quit, but has so much grit and passion like I do, that I think my chief pop officer is trying to join the meeting.
Let's do a cameo for all dog lovers. This is an opportunity if you feel comfortable sharing an introduction with your dog. It's no apologies for dogs. No. What's your pup's name?
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy. Awesome.
He's a president of the United States. Well, he has some resemblance to the former president, and it's a privilege to have him in my company, to be part of the office dynamics, because he's also very curious.
Awesome.
So to end on that note, female entrepreneurship, what that means to me is not just pushing boundaries, but just showing up, just like anybody else would. Yeah, we are 2% adventure, but that's changing. Women are born to invent. We're born to create life. Men and women, we both have a lot of talents, right? But let's stop putting gender next to our abilities and start generating what could be done based on our individual attributes. We are so much more than what you see, so much more than what we even do for a living. We are everything in between. So my thing to anybody listening to this that is female, someone who's been in their career for a very long time, is lean into being exactly who you're meant to be. That is the greatest frequency that you can be, is authentic. And everything else will find its way through.
Authentic, absolutely. And I've met you in real life, and Geri, and doing the work, being brilliant. Yeah, it's a meritocracy, but it's also fascinating that it's like, oh, this is rare where it's two female founders. Like, that's exceptional. That's great.
Yeah. But one of the greatest achievements I've had in my life is building a really strong, high-performing team. Geri industry, the last 25 years, she's built skyscrapers. She's done deals that are over $50 million properties, townhomes all over the country. ImaageQ, he's our head of sales and our advisor. Right now, he focuses on bringing in our brands, but he's podcaster. So we just interviewed Eric Trump and Grant Cardone. And we're just focusing on really understanding how we can leverage, our current socioeconomic status and the lay of the land per se to create growth, because politicians, developers, scientists, we all have to work in the same ecosystem. So let's bring them together in ways where we're not selling anything. We're just creating value, right? Tillman McCollum, like I mentioned earlier, my CTO from Microsoft, one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. And I'm so grateful to be able to work with somebody like him. He's built some really innovative technologies that Jeff, you can have him interview on your podcast and you can tell him yourself. And then I have Carlos. He is a third generational Venezuelan builder. Also, and his father opened up 80 offices for Sotheby's, and he's helped since he was a little kid work on those performance models. He's been such an incredible asset to the team as one of our product officers, because I've never seen somebody who has such great right and left brain, almost equal. And it's game changing when you have industry experts on your team. That is what I would tell to anybody who's looking to start a company. Do you have any SMEs? If not, find all of them. Somehow get them to want to work with you. Subject matter experts, SMEs. Yeah.
For the listeners who don't know, so build a team.
Subject matter experts, people that have expertise in what they do. This is a game changer in entrepreneurship. A lot of great people in Silicon Valley building companies, but unless you are a subject matter expert, vibe coding is not going to solve any problems. What's going to solve the problem is somebody that's an expert. Love vibe coding. It gets us to where we got to go, but not everything can be vibe coded. Specifically high performing teams.
There's no moat with vibe coding. And what's a vibe code? It's like hacking a website, or it's a shortcut, and that's not the foundation for a business.
But you can't vibe code high performing teams.
Correct. You can't vibe, and startups don't have time for training. So it's larger corporations that have internship programs and mentorship and training. But if you join a high performing sales team, everyone needs to be a pro yesterday. Yeah.
And my leadership style is that I like to work with everybody on an individual level, really get to know them as a person, what motivates them, what excites them, what scares them. I'm, pursuing my doctorate in organizational psychology. I think the best place you can ever be in business is to really understand who you're talking to on their side of the table, not just to get a sale, but to understand what we can do together as human beings to create progress, right? And that all comes down to what motivates people. And how do I talk to you, Jeff, the way you need to be spoken to? How do you speak to me? How can my body language determine how I'm responding to you and how you leverage that to respond to me? I'm a super nerd when it comes to that.
That's great. Feel free to talk about your personal life too. I've had guests talk about their faith, their worldview and values, and basically how, they're on a mission. So, okay, yes, they're successful in business, and, they have, investment portfolio, but that's a low time preference. You have to be on the right course to do something like this for 10, 20, 30 years. And how they, vet partners and not just employees, but partners in the industry. It's like values alignment. Sometimes it's faith alignment, and it all makes a lot of sense where it's like, oh, you're being your authentic self. What is your North Star? This is your company. So you're allowed to tell as much about your true self as you want, because it's you're your boss, right? And so, yeah, anything you want to share where it's like the listeners are like, oh, yeah, these are my values too. I should call you. Like, it's really put yourself out there, whatever you feel like sharing. It's, I'm guessing the listener to this episode, doesn't yet know you, or has met you once. And this is a way to kind of catch them up on the story of Jessica.
Well, I believe we all are born with a mission. It's our job to understand what that is. It's funny, I was talking to my aunt the other day and she goes, it's so great you found your mission so young. Usually people find it when they retire. That was what I was afraid of my whole life, waiting until I retired to find my mission. And that's actually one of the catapults that had me start my own company, not to just be my own boss, but to be my own steward of where I'm going with my life. Now, part of my founder story and what's been one of the hardest things that I had to experience is that my younger brother, Ryan, he passed away. It's going to be 4 years in October. He was 26, and there's nothing more earth-shattering than to lose your only sibling. He was in a car accident and, he suffered some strong mental health issues and the system didn't save him. But he had an idea around art. He liked art. Why wasn't in the same centerfold as design? That was the precipice along with what I built with Berkshire Hathaway around the vacancies. It said, wait, because we started with art and we're still working with art. But how can we put everything in the same environment so that there isn't two different workflows? I moved to Miami 3.5 years ago. So a few months after he passed away, I went all in AI and I built everything that I set out to do. And through those grieving processes, it pushed me to levels I never thought I could as a human being. The amount of grit, emotional resonance, the ability to wake up every day not knowing if what you're doing is going to make the impact that you believe it will. But then that one spark of momentum, the next spark of momentum, meeting Jeff, getting asked to do a podcast, getting a patent, getting our first couple of customers, bringing in millions of dollars into our round. Those compounding momentum pieces are what motivate me more than anything, because I know at the center of it all, I had a lot of faith in myself. What I'm comfortable sharing on this podcast, there'll be a lot more that we'll talk more about my divine faith. Simple as this. What you do and where you're going is your faith measure, right? Where you're going in your life. You have faith, you're going to do it, you're going to get there. Hope is the engine to the car. So a lot of entrepreneurs say, I hope I'm going to get the money. I hope I'm going to get the customer. Well, maybe we can just say and phrase it like this. I have faith it will happen and my hope will drive me there. Simply. My brother is giving me a level of motivation I didn't think I knew I can have. And the great part is I get to talk about him every day because he is my founder story. He is my reason. And, if you want to be able to change your bloodline, you have to be able to do things that other people weren't able to do. And I know why I'm doing it. It's for my family and my future family, to break down the barriers that my grandfather moved here with $3 in his wallet to be able to do and to die a very wealthy man, to allow me to get on a stage and to win an award from the Italian Chamber of Commerce for helping bridge AI between the United States and Italy. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm I'm watching my documentary happen. And Jeff, I genuinely don't know what I did to deserve this life, but I'm here until the boots come off.
Sorry to hear about your brother.
Thank you.
I like how you've framed a loss into a motivating mission. So it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. And then I just listened to what you just said. You just said that. What did I do to deserve it? You're doing the work every day is what you deserve your reality and future. No, you're manifesting it and creating it. So that's awesome. And what I heard recently was entrepreneurs have an intimate relationship with reality, which is the market tells them they're delusional or not. So if you have a product market fit, that's reality. Your slide deck prior is not reality. And I like how you called out the word hope. We hope things will happen. What are the actionable steps to make things happen? And you've also mentioned being empathetic from a psychology standpoint of how do I need to be spoken to? Well, what's my role as an investor, as a partner, as an employee, as you tell me. But once you identify that, that's being empathetic, but you're also again, it's product market fit is how can I add value in any relationship in life and business? And it's know your customer and what are their values and what do I need and what am I willing to pay for? And you've touched on it because you have the right mental models and track record. You know what you're doing. And I think anyone listening to this who's, just getting started, less experienced, younger, it doesn't matter their age, earlier in their career, so to speak, how you say things has resonated with me, or I'm like, I already know you're the real deal because the questions you ask when we first met, but also how you talk about your own business shows that it's that, when someone celebrates, in sports, act like you've been here before. You already know what success looks like. This isn't your first rodeo. I'm not throwing around metaphors, but you know what I mean? So anyways, I appreciate your language because it shows that you're, well, let me just say it. You're not a first-time founder, correct?
I've helped build companies. I helped start companies. So this is not my first startup. No.
Right. And I think that shows through where if someone was doing a pitch deck or, hey, this is the total addressable market and here's who I think my partners and, will be, but they haven't done it before, they use different language.
And it compounds. Least the ignorance is the worst thing to have, but it's important to almost have enough where you're allowing yourself to push through the boundaries because you don't have fear. But what is holding you back is the thing that you just are pushing away. That's stopping you from getting the answer. My biggest thing is pull the Band-Aid off. It's not comfortable. The longer you wait, it's going to make more of a problem, right? So, I'm from business school. My professors and students are going to be listening to this, but we're taught to have a business plan. Now, I'm all about the business plan, but it's a living, breathing document that has a lot of breath, has all the functionalities of a human or the human body. It's going to change constantly. So I tell young founders, I was offered an opportunity to teach at Miami-Dade College next semester. So going through the process and seeing how I can create value for the students in AI and how to raise capital as a minority here in Miami. And I know that it comes down to your ability to understand what your right North Star is. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. And I put that with a high level of caution tape. Because if you don't have, there's certain tests, maybe another podcast we could do this, but the one test, super important, is the test of ambiguity. How well can you do under chaos? It goes to 1 to 10. 10 being can handle a lot of chaos. I scored 11. Now, it's not the chaos that is the thing to be looking at is, can this person handle things they don't know answers to? Are they going to crumble? Or are they going to rise? How do they solve problems? Do they sit there and try to scream and fight? Or do they look to the person that's mentoring them and say, hey, I have a problem, but I have a solution. Let's run through the solution playbook, right? Or, hey, I have a new person that came onto my team. They're not the right fit for that right position, but I think they can move into another position in the company. Just right person, wrong seat, right? How do I compound all these decisions to make the company sing? Comes down to my ability to handle what I can't always foresee. I think that's the most important thing. And a lot of that is my faith. I've surrendered to the things I can't control. But I got a team of warriors. I call them my own, my Power Rangers. They're all independently brilliant. So Jeff, there's going to be a clip that you're going to take today. My phrase is that I empower my team to be their own lane of genius. And we come together to empower, to make things great as a whole.
It's more than a subject matter expert. It's a zone of genius, which it's that movie, what I like referencing, Slumdog Millionaire, where how did he know the 10 answers to win the $1 million, whatever? It's only because of his life experience, where those were trick questions and smart people on Jeopardy would have got 3 of them wrong or 1 of them wrong and you don't win the $1 million. But the point was, the zone of genius is that my lived experience plus, and that's what makes me different. I like what you just said too, where it's, I think it was Elon Musk was saying, to be a founder, it's staring into the abyss while chewing on glass. And what do we do about that? And that's,
I like that.
Yeah, can you handle that? But also when you stare into the abyss, is it analysis paralysis? But I think what you and your team are doing is taking action produces information. So you just mentioned it. It's like, oh, I'm stuck or I don't know. I can't see around this corner.
Yeah.
You take action with a point of view and and that action produces the answers and you're working through it.
And I think, one of the most important books is Agile Startup. If it's perfect, you're ready late. The train left. You have to start before you were ready, raising capital, creating products, starting teams. Because the matrix of entrepreneurship is simple. When I went to Columbia, this is the first thing they taught me, and I almost left the school because of it. Radical candor. The class was, how do you fail? Program was $100,000 a year, and you're going to teach me how to fail? At the time, the word failure was one of the most triggering words to me. Because as a high-performing child and, graduate of college, if it wasn't an A, I was not satisfied with myself. Funny, I went from a very strong type A to being more of a Sigma as I've gotten into entrepreneurship because I realized I can't control everything, right? But in that time period of really transforming myself and my leadership skills, I've learned the most important thing to do is to leverage others and your team, because we can't do any of this alone. When we met, we had great synergy. I mean, I asked you, what is your target profile for your customer? That's the first thing I said to you. Like, all right, we're on the same frequency. Founders need to speak to founders. We're our own cohort of people. And I believe there's going to be such a flourishing community, and it's already here. Now it's just a matter of bringing us all together. I've learned something, Jeff, that when you bring really brilliant people in a room, ego is gone. It's gone.
Well, let me say something about when we met. I was at a conference as the only Bitcoin expert at a business expo, industry agnostic. And I was being a bridge builder. I'm trying to communicate the value. By the way, I gave you the Bitcoin Standard, right? That's the book I give to people. And when you mentioned your colleague who does the podcast with Eric Trump and Grant Cardone, there's a bridge to Bitcoin. So you have real estate experts, the Trumps, the Cardones, and they're seeing the value in Bitcoin. And that's my zone of genius, and that's my digital transformation. But the bridge here is under the banner of digital transformation. You have Bitcoin, but you also have AI, and there's overlap, and there's maturity, and you find that. But what I really appreciated meeting you was, forget the title founder or entrepreneur. It's meeting people with agency. And then if you go back to a company or a team and you don't see agency, you see people asking for permission. Can I be on this podcast? Can I do this? And it's there's a reason I think founders have clubs, and there's, group chats where it's exceptional, where you say, oh, you're living this. This is a 360 lifestyle. It's a personality trait. You are being authentic, but it's also for other people, it's a breath of fresh air to be like, oh, this is what agency looks like, and taking action. And then you go back to, I don't know, corporate world or wherever, and you have people that are asking for permission too much. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
The system.
You can't unsee it,
I've come from the product of that system, and I'm so grateful for corporate America. It helped me evolve. But living in that radical candor of just waking up every day and just being so honest with myself and others, that authenticity, I've read recently, is the highest form of frequency that we can emote in our bodies, next to love. So
authenticity, be real, be yourself.
And you will emote the highest frequency. What happens, guys, when you invoke the highest frequency? Everybody wants to be around you. Everybody wants to do what you're doing. And what happens is we compound those micro interactions as momentum, excitement. I'm a pseudo extrovert. I come alive around people, but then I need my own time. That's it. So if we know what we are and have a high level emotional intelligence to understand the good, the bad, the ugly, how we communicate, how we get upset, how we win, we're the next level. So I think the next piece of tidbit of this is, how do we really lean into becoming emotionally intelligent people? Well, the first step is being high agency. How do you make hard decisions every day? Well, you need to understand how to manage difficult situations by managing your emotional aptitude to react or not to react, right? And it can be hard sometimes when we're working with people that are emotionally triggering to us, be a family member, close business partner, somebody that can get you off. How do you lower the threshold to not respond? That is when you start seeing your evolution compounding at a different rate.
And then here's my last question segue into the next step is knowing what you want and asking for it. And so therefore, as I'm figuring out, what is this podcast? Who are my guests, founders, and brilliant people? And so then I say, well, what's, someone who's listened to us this far, we're going to guess they don't already know us, or maybe there's a referral and, they're doing a little homework on us to then follow up. But if the listener is listening to this that doesn't quite know us, and in the spirit of you telling the universe and telling the world who you want to work with, who you want to meet next, my question is, in the context of business and what excites you about ImaageQ is, who are the next new people in your business life that you want to be introduced, and you take it any direction you want. But I just want the listener to be like, that's me. And then they're going to reach out to Jessica. For me, that's what a valuable episode is. I know there's so many nuggets in this. We'll chop it up. But if someone were listening to it this far, what's your final word to be like, you don't know me yet, but let's definitely hop on a call. But this is why this call will be worth your time. And this is this is what you're exactly who I'm looking for. And that's, hopefully that's what this podcast is amplifying you being clear, authentic, but clear on what you want. And let's just don't be bashful. Who do you want to meet?
So I believe that the best people to collaborate with are the people that understand what it's like to take a bull by the horns, per se, and do what is unthinkable, which is disrupting an industry. So who I'm so excited to meet are, our cohort of customers that we're going to be oversubscribing to the end of the next 18 months, furniture brands, real estate developers. Miami is the most abundant testing ground. It happens to be my localization strategy, right? In Miami, meeting developers that want to take this to the next level, want to be able to change how the biggest new cohort of homeowners are millennials like myself. We want immersive. We want personalized. And I got 10 other listings I'm looking at. Why am I going to go with you? Right. What I'm really excited to meet is other strategics, people that can help us grow and scale the business, people that have experience in the real estate market, people that want to help us to scale the business in terms of strategic networking, whether that also being, capital infusions and connections that can help us continue to catapult this business into the next generation. I have very lofty goals for this company, but the thing about goals is you keep pushing the needle every day and you'll realize that every single day is something you need to be grateful for. As an evolved person, I see it like this. Money, power, respect was a wrong order of operations that I'm not sure the exact wrapper, but it's been phrased very recently. It's been phrased. Money, power, respect. Well, I humbly and with no disrespect disagree, because I believe the first step to achieving anything great in your life is to gain respect by people. Now, my brother gave me one of the greatest gifts, him passing away. It was a public tragedy. Me leaning in and building this company gave me a lot of respect from others and for myself to the highest extent. Because of that, you walk into your power, which means you're doing the hard thing. You're creating high agency conversations. You're leaning in, you're raising capital. You're bringing on the best developers and brands in the world to solve the same problem with you on the same mission to change how we interact with the built world. And because of that, money comes, but money is a byproduct of having respect and power, because anybody could be wealthy, but do you have the respect and power to lead with that wealth? Because I'll end this with this. What motivates me more than building a very abundant software company that I believe that we can get into, unicorn margins. But let me show you first. A lot of people talk the talk, but let's see it, right? Is the ability to give back philanthropically. I'm a huge proponent of social progress. I said it 3 times in this podcast. I want nothing more but to create and continue. I'm working with Food for the Poor. I have some collaborations here that I'm already creating social good within my company. For helping to change the built world, let's start by empowering impoverished communities in Latin America that need our support, right? And then how can I compound those micro impressions to be able to walk out when I sell this company to create my nonprofit in my brother's name, the Ryan Project Foundation, a foundation focusing on global happiness. That's something we don't know enough about as human beings. We focus on depression, but how can we lean into happiness that everybody knows that they're seen and heard at the table? Think about what kind of businesses, what kind of communities, what kind of governments, if people were taught how to be happy since they were young. That compounding effect is what I believe creates legacy.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay. So this has been an amazing conversation. Again, anyone who's listened to it from the top to bottom will be fully impressed. But even in chapters, we'll cut up the 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, which are amazing standalone. Just like you've shared so much. So thank you. Thank you for your time. And okay, last question is, in the show notes, I'm going to put your website, your LinkedIn. So what is your preference of someone who's listening? Like, how should they reach out to you if they don't have a warm introduction? Is it a DM on LinkedIn? Is there a contact form on your website? So in addition to those 2 URLs, which I'll put, what is your style and preference of how listeners can reach out to you to follow up and take things offline?
Definitely. So I'm a founder for the people with the people. Contact me by my personal email. We can take it offline. And every executive I've ever worked with and every dollar of capital I close and every deal has been done via text message. So if there's space between the noise to get to learn more about each other, that would be the end goal. It's interesting how much things have shifted over the years, but the closer you can get to an instant communication, I know 5 billionaires. There's only 2006, less than 3,000 in the world, less than 3,000 in the world. 5 ones that I personally know respond. they're responding, they're acting, they're thinking, and they're in the present moment, but not letting anybody know that's important, that they're second. So I'm a big proponent of being able to access me any way that you need to. I'm always available for somebody who we can make things happen with, and somebody that is looking to be on the mission with me to help create, social progress and change. Start with real estate, but this is just the beginning.
Jessica, thank you so much. This was awesome. Have a great rest of your day. The listeners, same to you. And we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.